Combat Evaluation Hall 7 was designed to remove bias. No reputation. No species hierarchy. No assumptions. Just metrics. At least, that was the theory. Instructor Terrell Voss stood at the edge of the sparring platform, arms folded behind his back, watching the newest intake group cycle through close-quarters diagnostics. The room was enormous. Reinforced flooring, kinetic dampeners beneath the surface, scanning pylons surrounding the circular mat. Above them, a suspended combat analytics system projected live biometric readouts in clean, glowing text. Heart rate, muscle fiber engagement, adrenal spike thresholds, Fred index. Fred index was the number cadets cared about. It wasn't aggression. It was potential. A calculation of neural response time, force output, structural tolerance, and kinetic adaptability under stress. Most first-year cadets hovered in the low green range. A few ambitious heavy-worlders brushed yellow during peak engagement. Red was reserved for advanced predator class evaluations. Cadet Mira Kade stepped onto the platform. Human. Second intake of the cycle. Light frame. Compact build. Dark training uniform with no visible armor reinforcement. Her hair was tied back neatly, though loose strands framed her face. Expression neutral. Not tense. Not cocky. Just attentive. Across from her stood Cadet Ralvan, of Vexery Striker class. Tall. Long-limbed. Flexible joints. Known for speed-based engagement. Ralvan had been vocal during intake briefings. Humans are adaptable, he'd said earlier. But not specialized. He rolled his shoulders now and smirked faintly. Light contact, Instructor Terrell Voss ordered. Controlled spar. Scanner active. The pylons hummed softly. The suspended display flickered to life. 2 columns appeared. Ralvan, threat level, 38% green. Mira Kade, threat level, 22% green. Murmurs from the observation tier. Average. Predictable. Terrell Voss nodded once. Begin. Ralvan moved first. Fast. A probing low kick meant to test range. Mira shifted half a step back. Not exaggerated. Just enough. The kick passed inches from her thigh. Scanner updated. Mira Kade, 27%. Ralvan followed with a quick jab-cross combination. Mira slipped the jab, raised her forearm slightly to absorb the cross. Not full block. Just deflection. Scanner flickered. Mira Kade, 31%. Terrell Voss narrowed his eyes slightly. Threat index typically rose with aggression or panic. Mira showed neither. Ralvan pressed forward. A faint high. Spinning low kick. The crowd leaned in. The kick came fast. Vexery hip rotation made it dangerous. Mira didn't retreat. She stepped inside. Her left hand rose casually, and she caught the kick at the shin. One hand. Not braced. Not strained. Just stopped it. The entire hall went quiet. Scanner jumped. Mira Kade, 48%. Yellow. Ralvan's eyes widened slightly mid-motion. He tried to retract. Mira released immediately. No throw. No counterattack. Just reset. Threat index did not drop. It climbed. 52%. Terrell Voss stepped closer to the edge of the platform. Ralvan circled now. More cautious. He launched a rapid triple strike. Elbow. Knee. Palm. Mira pivoted around the elbow. Redirected the knee with her forearm. And tapped his shoulder lightly to disrupt rotation. Scanner pulsed. 61%. Red flickered briefly before settling into high yellow. The observation tier murmured louder now. She isn't striking. She's not escalating. Why is it rising? Terrell Voss accessed the submetric breakdown. Neural prediction models were spiking. Micromuscle engagement readings climbing. Reaction latency near zero. It wasn't aggression raising her threat level. It was readiness. Ralvan inhaled sharply. He committed this time. A full-speed high roundhouse. No testing. Mira's eyes didn't widen. She didn't tense visibly. Her right hand came up. She caught it again. One-handed. The impact echoed. Ralvan's momentum halted midair. Scanner surged. Threat level, 74%, red. A warning tone pulsed overhead. The audience fell completely silent. Ralvan's balance faltered as Mira gently redirected his leg aside. She did not throw him. Did not sweep. Did not counter. She stepped back. Hands relaxed. Breathing steady. The red warning light did not fade. It intensified. 81%. Instructor Terrell Voss felt a cold realization crawl up his spine. The system wasn't measuring hostility. It was measuring combat dominance potential under current conditions. Ralven disengaged, lowering his guard slightly. "Why is it rising?" he demanded quietly. Mira tilted her head. "I'm focused." The scanner pulsed again. 86%. Tyrell Voss cut in sharply. "Continue." Ralven hesitated, then lunged with full extension. A rapid chain of strikes, designed to overwhelm. Mira moved differently now. Not defensive. Efficient. Slip. Redirect. Tap. Step inside. Her movements were minimal, almost lazy. But Ralven never completed a clean strike. He felt blocked before he could land. Redirected before contact. Controlled before leverage. The scanner spiked. 91%. The red glow reflected off Mira's face. She did not appear angry. She did not appear strained. She appeared calm. That was the worst part. Ralven overcommit on a forward thrust kick. Mira stepped inside the line of force again. This time she placed her palm lightly against his chest and applied subtle pressure while pivoting. Ralven stumbled 3 full steps backward. He caught himself before falling. The scanner hit. Threat level, 97%. An audible alarm tone filled the hall. Automatic safety dampeners engaged around the platform perimeter. Tyrell Voss raised a hand. "Stop." Both cadets froze instantly. Mira's threat index did not drop. It hovered at 94%. Breathing steady. Heart rate moderate. Muscle activation high but controlled. Tyrell Voss stepped onto the platform slowly. "Cadet Kade," he said evenly. "Why is your threat index escalating?" She blinked once. "I'm adapting." "To what?" "To him." Ralven exhaled hard. "You're not attacking," he said. "I don't need to," she replied calmly. The scanner pulsed again. 96%. Tyrell Voss accessed deeper analytics. Her neural mapping showed predictive modeling layers activating in advance of Ralven's movement. She wasn't reacting. She was anticipating. Her muscle fiber engagement wasn't explosive. It was preloaded, like compressed springs held under tension. "Cadet," Tyrell Voss said carefully. "Increase offensive output by 20%. The observation tier shifted uncomfortably. Mira hesitated. "Like contact?" she confirmed. "Yes." She nodded once. Ralven reset his stance. This time, when he moved, Mira moved first. Ralven lunged. He didn't wait this time. He drove forward with a rapid forward thrust kick aimed at Mira's centerline. But Mira moved first. Not faster. Earlier. Her weight shifted before his hip completed rotation. She stepped diagonally into his blind angle and delivered a short palm strike to the inside of his supporting thigh. Not hard. Precise. Ralven's leg collapsed inward just enough to disrupt structure. Before he could recover, her other hand snapped upward, 2 knuckles brushing the underside of his jaw hinge. A controlled strike. Light. Measured. Ralven staggered back 3 steps. The scanner screamed. Threat level, 104%. The display glitched. Red bled across the projection. Cadets in the observation tier stood up instinctively. "Overcap," someone whispered. The system wasn't supposed to exceed 100%. Instructor Tyrell Voss felt his pulse spike. The diagnostic overlay flooded his display. Neural response prediction, 0.07 seconds pre-trigger. Muscle fiber activation, 92% engaged, 38% deployed. Energy output efficiency, 86%. Force suppression detected. Force suppression. He stared at the line twice. Mira wasn't striking at maximum output. She was holding back. Ralven shook his head, regaining footing. His pride flared. He roared softly and launched into a full-speed assault. Elbow, knee, low sweep. Mira didn't retreat. She moved inside the elbow, trapping it against her forearm. She redirected the knee with a pivot. And when Ralven's sweep came, she stepped over it. One smooth motion. Her palm struck his sternum lightly. But the timing was perfect. Ralven's breath vanished. Not from damage. From interruption. His diaphragm spasmed. He dropped to one knee, gasping. The scanner climbed. 112%. The system alarm changed pitch, now a sustained warning tone. Safety dampeners fully activated. Instructor Tyrell Voss stepped forward sharply. "Cease engagement." Mira froze instantly. Ralven remained kneeling, stunned but conscious. The red glow reflected off her uniform. Her breathing remained steady. Heart rate elevated, but not chaotic. Tyrell Voss studied the deeper data stream. Her adrenal levels were elevated. but controlled. No cortisol spike. No panic indicators. The threat level wasn't emotion-based. It was structural dominance modeling. The system was calculating what she could do, not what she was doing. Cadet Kade, Terrell Voss said carefully, reduce output. She exhaled once. Her shoulders relaxed slightly. The scanner dipped. 97%. Still red, even at rest. A murmur rolled through the hall. Ralven stood slowly, rubbing his chest. You hit me, he said. Yes, she replied calmly. You barely touched me. Yes. Then why can't I breathe? She blinked once. I interrupted your contraction timing. Terrell Voss stepped fully between them. Explain. Mira hesitated, then answered simply. When he inhaled to stabilize his core for the sweep, his diaphragm was extended. The strike forced premature contraction. Ralven stared. That was instinct. She tilted her head slightly. Observation. The scanner pulsed again, stabilizing at 94%. Terrell Voss accessed the physiological breakdown. Human musculature, dense fiber layering from high-gravity adaptation. Joint reinforcement not as visible as heavy world species, but elastic resilience far above baseline. Reaction prediction curves were the most alarming. The system showed Mira initiating micromovements before Ralven completed neural signaling for his strikes. She wasn't reacting to motion. She was reading intention. Cadet Kade, Terrell Voss said slowly. Were you aware your threat index exceeded system maximum? No, instructor. You did not feel escalation? She shook her head. I was focused. He turned to the projection. Threat index algorithm. Aggression. Force. Speed. Structural tolerance. Dominance projection. Her aggression value remained low. Her force output moderate. Her speed high. But dominance projection. The system was modeling outcome probability if engagement continued unrestricted. And it didn't favor Ralven. Terrell Voss faced the cadets in the observation tier. Record this, he ordered. The entire hall was silent now. Human physiology does not rely on overt aggression. Their threat potential scales with predictive modeling and kinetic efficiency. He turned back to Mira. Cadet Kade, if you had escalated to maximum force, what would have occurred? She hesitated. Serious injury. To whom? She looked at Ralven briefly. Likely him. Ralven swallowed. The room felt colder. Terrell Voss stepped closer. Why did you suppress output? She answered without hesitation. Instruction parameters. He studied her expression. No arrogance. No pride. Just clarity. Cadet Ralven, Terrell Voss said. What did you experience? Ralven exhaled slowly. It felt like fighting someone who knew what I would do before I did it. The cadets murmured again. Terrell Voss nodded once. Human neural processing under stress differs from most cataloged species. They evolved in high-gravity environments with persistent physical threat stimuli. Their combat response is not explosive. He looked back at the scanner. It is anticipatory. Mira's threat level remained red, even while standing still. That was the part that unsettled him most. Cadet Kade, he said quietly, relax completely. She closed her eyes briefly. Inhaled. Exhaled. The scanner dipped. 82%. Still yellow-red boundary. Terrell Voss turned to the analytics officer behind a glass. Recalibrate human baseline threat mapping. The officer hesitated. Sir, that will alter Academy classification tiers. Yes. A long pause. Then the officer nodded and began inputting adjustments. Ralven stepped forward slightly. You didn't try to win, he said to Mira. She opened her eyes. It wasn't a competition. He frowned faintly. It felt like one. She gave a small shrug. It was evaluation. The scanner finally dipped in a high yellow. 78%. Terrell Voss addressed the hall. Human cadets will no longer be categorized as moderate adaptives. Their threat modeling must account for predictive dominance scaling. A cadet in the upper tier raised a tentative hand. Instructor, does that mean they are predator class? Terrell Voss didn't answer immediately. He looked at Mira. Calm. Focused. Standing with relaxed posture while still projecting near-red metrics. No, he said slowly. They are pressure class. The room fell silent. Pressure class was reserved for species that didn't overwhelm through size or venom or brute force. They overwhelmed through inevitability. Terrell Voss stepped back. Cadet Kade stepped down. She nodded and left the platform quietly. The scanner followed her for a moment, then stabilized at 70%. Still elevated. Still contained.